This is the first episode of our movie review talk.
We haven't come up with a title yet. It's a work in progress.
Work in progress, it's true. But I think the thing is, we got to respond to what's going on with Black Panther. This is a pretty amazing movie, from what I understand. You went to see it.
Amazing is an understatement, but go on.
All right. Well, listen. I mean, you know about it. You went to see it. Tell us what first your impression, and then maybe we can get into like what you feel about reactions, like what it means, for you.
So to give a little context to the film for people who are living under a rock, Black Panther is about an African king named T'Challa from the fictional African country of Wakanda, and he's assuming his rightful place as the king of Wakanda, and the antagonist, Killmonger, who's played by Michael B. Jordan, who does an amazing job, has come back to Wakanda to reclaim what he feels is his birthright. And just everything from this film, from the special effects to the story to the acting, it's pretty much a good mix of everything you would want in not just a Marvel film, but a film in general.
Like a blockbuster too. It's like, sometimes you want to see Independence Day, you want to see something with explosions and stuff, but it's still good, but it feels like that kind of a movie. It delivers on all of the action, but it also has a bit of substance.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I love so much about this movie is the social undertones that it displays between, not necessarily just, Black people in general, but Black people from Africa and Black people from the United States, and how there's like some sort of conflict, in real life, and they did a good job of playing that up on camera, as well as kind of having this, sense of community and family and looking out for your tribe. And one of the more interesting themes and dynamics of the film is the fact that it really drove home the fact that women are the backbone of society, because you had a lot of intelligent, strong Black women playing these very, very significant roles in the movie, like Angela Bassett, and
who's always good. Like Angela Bassett's seriously a solid actress. Any movie she's in.
I hope that I'm successful enough that Angela Bassett plays my mother in the movie. I feel like you've made it if Angela Bassett plays your mother in some form of capacity in a biopic. So hopefully, fingers crossed, one day they'll be telling the Popdust story, and Angela Bassett will be my mom.
That sounds good. So she was good.
She was amazing.
Who did she play?
She played T'Challa's mother, the Queen, and you had all these different characters that were just awesome. Forrest Whitaker's character.
Oh, and that's his father.
No, that's
an uncle.
Yes,
uncle. Okay.
No, Lupita Nyong'o. She played an amazing role in the movie. It was just like I gotta go see it again.
Yeah, really, you gotta take me this time. You went the first time, get the first impact. We gotta go back.
Yeah,
get the second.
Definitely, and just the buzz around this movie, for better or worse, has just been phenomenal. It's starting to inspire people to have a lot of different conversations,
right? Whether
it be about representation of African Americans in film and television, how we interact with one another, and just redefining what a blockbuster movie is going to be. Because normally you think blockbuster is just a whole bunch of explosions, no substance,
right.
But this movie has a lot of substance. It has a lot of great, themes that people can relate to, whether you're Black or not,
right.
Which is pretty fantastic. And I noticed a lot of different conversations that are being inspired by the film. For instance, a lot of people may relate to Michael B. Jordan's character, Killmonger, and he's classified as a villain, but
right.
More people will label him an antagonist than anything, because if you look at the film, some of his ideals and beliefs, they have some merit, they have some
right.
validity, but it's the way he goes about, exacting and, executing a lot of those beliefs that, is pretty questionable.
Yeah.
But still, nonetheless, he did a phenomenal job. And also, one of the more interesting points is the fact that Ryan Coogler, the director, this is his third film. He directed Fruitvale Station with Michael B. Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
He directed Creed, that also had Michael B. Jordan. And this is his third film, and it happens to be a blockbuster, and he's only 31 years old.
Wow, that's incredible. 31. I think about what I was doing at 31. You don't want to know what I was doing at 31.
You weren't directing blockbuster movies at 31?
No, hell no. I was maybe blockbuster life, but that's not it.
Going to blockbuster.
Explosions, big explosions going on. You know, the thing is that, you know, with movies, Hollywood movies, you know, and superhero movies in general, it's like you usually have, there's good guys and bad guys. Like you were saying that this is an antagonist. Now, I mean, that is like counter to a lot of, you know, and I think it plays the type because, you know, you need that stark, you know, good and evil to know who to root for. Like when something's definitely, you're like, okay, I can feel good about being happy that they're not good, you know.
Right.
So like with this dynamic, you know, is there that same feeling of like, I don't want to say justification or justice, because that is what superheroes are about. It's about justice, right?
Well, a lot of superheroes, they have some sort of, you know, troubled past or, you know, something conflicting inside of them. And sometimes it leads them to make rash and, you know, hard decisions that you wouldn't expect a hero to make. And sometimes, like, you know, with a villain, you know, once again, their thought process, you know, if you just took a deep dive into it, you kind of go, yeah, you know, kind of makes sense. Like, thinking back to, you know, the Batman movies with the Joker. Like, you know, the Joker was clearly out of his mind. But if you listen to a lot of the things that the Joker said, they made a lot of sense. And it's pretty much the same temperament here with, you know, Black Panther. You look at, you know, T'Challa, the king, and, you know, some of the things from his past and some of the, you know, the sins of his father that, you know, may reflect upon him. And you look at it and go, you know what, that is a real hero. Like, but then on the flip side, you'll look at Killmonger, who's supposed to be this vile villain, and say, you know what, I kind of relate to that guy. And I think that's just human nature, because there's sometimes we play, you know, the villain, and there's sometimes that we play the hero.
Yeah, and sometimes it's, you know, a little bit of both, you know, and I like that, you know, culture, our society, I think, is becoming a little bit more aware of that, you know, subtlety, and, you know, that it's a good thing. You know, it's a good thing, because when you see what you see like sociologically, like just like in terms of media and film and TV, this is stuff that we go to because we love to see this stuff, right? So you're gonna pick up some morals from these movies. Some people, this is where they get their idea of what right and wrong is.
Exactly.
You know, so
especially once again, the importance of representation. You got little kids, you know, kids of color, you know, and not just, you know, primarily kids of color, but kids who are fans of, you know, the Marvel universe.
Yeah, superheroes, these are their idols.
So they're gonna see, you know, movies like this, and, you know, it's kind of gonna help them, you know, develop some sort of a moral compass, if you will. But in order for, you know, that to hit home, you got to make sure that it's delivered right. And I feel like everybody from cast to, you know, the director, they delivered right on this movie.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I can imagine there was probably a lot of attention that went to this. You know, on the flip side, and it's sort of like interesting because there's the DC and the Marvel universe. They are the only two who are separate now by company, right? Oh, you don't like DC?
Boo.
Not DC? Look, I like what they're doing because it's different, and I'm a big fan of Wonder Woman. I'm not gonna
Wonder
lie.
Woman was actually good.
Wonder Woman was the best, and the reason why I follow it, Justice League wasn't as good, but whatever. We won't talk about these other movies. We're going to stay on topic, okay? So let's talk about the experience of seeing it. You saw it on opening weekend. Now, this is like not just, hey man, like I got to the front, you know, I wasn't just there, I was in the front row. So tell me about like what that was like, you know, being in the theater for that.
Oh man, it was awesome. You could just feel the excitement, and it just came from all ages and all different, you know, races, and it was just amazing. Just like you walk into the movie theater and you're just buzzing with anticipation. You want to get your snacks, you want to get to your seat.
You gotta get snacks for that movie. It's not like that was like, should I get them? Should I? I was like,
you definitely need snacks for this movie.
Yo, I stopped by Dwayne Reed. I got the milk duds. I got all the candy corns and the sour gummy worms. Stuffed those in my pockets. You know what? One time I did. I took a Subway hoagie into the theater with me.
Of course you did.
Just it was down my leg.
Why wouldn't
I was like, listen,
it's a movie fool.
It's a bit. Anyway, I'm sorry. Okay. All right. So the energy was right. I mean, was it packed? Was there any empty seats?
There were no empty seats, and it was like by happenstance that I managed to get good seats.
Really?
I literally got there maybe 2 weeks before the movie came out, and I was looking everywhere for opening night, and I couldn't find anything. And I actually went with my girlfriend, so the few theaters that we did check out that did have assigned seating, there were situations where I would have a seat right here in the front row, and my girlfriend would be 3 seats back.
Oh, that's
so
not even doable.
We lucked out, and we went to a movie theater in Queens, and once again, like before the movies, normally with a movie, you know, that's new and may not have as much hype, but you still want to see it, you'll probably get there like just in time before it starts. You know, people were waiting for this movie before the credits were even rolling, and the theater was packed where that was still showing to turn off your cell phone messages, and
they're like, shut your phone off.
Yeah,
you're not fucking this up for me.
Yeah, right now everybody needs to shut their phone off. But it was just so electric, and you just felt like everybody that went to go see that movie, you know, they were seeing it for a specific reason, because this was the type of film that had so much hype, so much anticipation built around it, that if you went to go see it, you were definitely looking forward to it being as good as people say it was going to be. So definitely sitting in the theater with so many different people, and you know, we're all strangers and we're just connecting and laughing at the same things and, you know, reacting. And
didn't you wear something?
Yeah,
you got dressed up, right?
Yeah, I dressed up.
Tell us about that.
When I went, it was actually Huey Newton's birthday. For those of you that don't know, Huey Newton is the founder of the Black Panther Party that was originated in Oakland. You know, they were a revolutionary movement that countered police brutality and injustice amongst colored people, but they also did a whole bunch of other neat things, like they started a free breakfast program for kids. They also helped with, you know, voter registrations, you know, for people in the community, and they were advocates for the, you know, LGBTQ community.
Yeah, it's right there, right on Haight-Ashbury too, right?
Yeah, yep. So I went, you know, on Huey Newton's birthday dressed as a Black Panther. You know, I had the leather jacket, I had, you know, wore all black, had the beret, and
the beret's clutch.
Beret was really clutch, and you know, a lot of people said that I did it justice, and you know, I just felt like, you know, even though the movie and the film, you know, they don't correlate, you know, at all, you know.
Right. It's I know one's not the other, but like.
But just once again, that sense of pride, and you know, it was just such a huge thing because, you know, it's, you know, Black Panther's the first black, you know, Marvel superhero.
Right.
You know, it came out on this weekend, and it also came out, you know, in February during Black History Month. And,
yeah. True. Wow.
Yeah. So as much as, you know, I guess people don't want this to be a quote unquote black film, which by far it isn't. It just felt good to see, you know, representation, you know, in that regard when it came to superheroes and, you know, just people with morals and values, and, you know, us being shown as warriors and, you know, kings and queens and princes and princesses and intellectuals. And
well, you're not being treated like the script isn't written as if you're black. You know what I'm saying? You know what a great example of that is? Night of the Living Dead. I don't know if you remember that. The main character, the black man, I don't remember the names of the characters, but Black Man, he was the lead actor, and it was actually written not for a black man. It was written for, you know, a white man, I'm assuming, but they cast him. You know, it was a very indie movie, so they got it. So that's why the dialogue, you never see him refer to it. One, he ends up punching a dude. This is the 50s, you got to think about, you know, and the shit he does, if you end up going back and you're like, oh wow, he did all of this, and at that time, if he was cast as a black man, would he be
able to get away with it?
right. Well, one, you know, able to get away with it, but two, even cast.
Exactly.
You know?
But this film, you know, for all intents and purposes, is definitely black, but it's not black in the sense that, you know, it isolates other people.
Right.
So, you know, if you're definitely gonna see this movie, and hopefully it'll start to open up a lot of dialogue and have, you know, people from other races, you know, have different perspectives on black people who may not have had those same perspectives before. Not saying that they're racist, but they just don't know.
Right.
Well,
that's the thing. Is like, what kind of questions do you think? You know, one, well, I care that it's good, and I care that it's like, I mean, one, Stan Lee talked about like when he made this character, and also the X-Men too, because it was sort of a thing, his way of sort of saying, hey, you know, this is diversity, these are some of our problems with it, you know, and addressing that back, I guess, 60s or 70s maybe, you know? So like, is that something that's been, like, I know with Luke Cage too, when Luke Cage came out, that actually was really big, because I was like, to my knowledge, that was the first televised black superhero like that had a film or a series about it, you know?
I mean, not really. You had Blade with Wesley Snipes.
All right, yeah, but Blade is all right. Okay, Yeah, but is he a superhero? He's a comic book character, but is he technically a superhero?
Why would he be? He has superpowers. He can.
Well, he's a vampire.
Well, he's half vampire.
All right, yeah. You see my point. It's a monster versus, and he's not saying he's a monster. I get what you're saying because it's the comic book world. You can talk about that. All right, but I meant more specific. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you meant more so like it's a traditional superhero,
right?
That arrows on the side of good, and you just look at him and go, he's a good guy.
Yeah, he's like the super friend. He's part of that team. You know what I mean? And two, it's like that like again in the DC world, you have Cyborg, which when they came into that, like he's gonna have his own movie.
Yeah.
So
don't forget, there's also a black incarnation of the Green Lantern.
Oh, absolutely.
There's been talks about that being a film as well.
Well, hopefully they can get it right. Be like, listen, it's the only way we get it right.
Okay, DC messed it up the first time with Ryan Reynolds. Luckily, he came over to the Marvel Universe and redeemed himself with Deadpool. But
yeah, that was actually pretty good. I was like, dude, you totally did redeem yourself.
But it's funny that you say that because this is in the wake of another black superhero show that's out now that's actually called Black Lightning.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. What is that on?
It's on CW.
Okay, cool.
So that's in the same vein as The Flash.
Right.
Arrow and Black Lightning is an amazing show. I've been watching it faithfully each and every week. And
is it first season this season?
Yes, first season. Okay. And Cress Williams does an amazing job as Black Lightning. James Remar, who's one of my favorite actors from The Warriors and things like that, he's in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he does an amazing job. And you just start to get this sense of, of feeling like the representation that you wanted all along as a kid, as a black kid at least, you're starting to see this, but it's cool to see other people embrace it as well. Of course you have detractors, of course you have people who feel like, this is, divisive and feels like it's only catering to a certain demographic, but it's not necessarily about catering to a certain demographic more than it is, inviting people to witness, culture that they may not be familiar with.
Well, it's experiencing the fantasy too, because it's like you see somebody on screen that looks like you. You're like it's like more you can get yourself in the fantasy more. It's like, wow, that person's really experiencing what I experience.
Exactly.
And there are just certain things that you never see that role, and it is exciting to see that that's being had for a lot more. Less of the whitewashing, so to speak.
And it's awesome. I feel like it's an awesome time to be a kid because you have like all these black superheroes now. You have Luke Cage. You have Black Panther. I'm pretty sure when Halloween rolls around, so many kids
my God,
Black Panther.
Nobody's gonna be anything else.
And which is cool too, because you also got to think as well. It's not gonna be just black kids who want to be Black Panther.
Well, that's true. It's like Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
Holy shit, dude! It is like Star Wars in the fact that it's highly anticipated. Mm-hmm. It like broke box office records.
Yeah.
And it's a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah. I see Black Panther doing the same thing because Black Panther also ties into the upcoming Avengers movie, Infinity Wars.
Oh shit! Yes. I mean, and that's a fucking a never-ending saga of superheroes, which
and of course, this is gonna just the fact that it's already broken box office records, and it's still gonna break box office records because you look now in certain places, Black Panther is still sold out.
Really? So you couldn't even get a ticket now if I tried?
You would probably still have to look very, very hard because people still need to see this movie. People still want to see this movie, and people want to see this movie again.
Yeah. So sneak in. I mean, I'm not approving of not doing that. Maybe pay your ticket.
Definitely pay. Support the Black guy.
Yeah. Okay. Well. All right. True. But if you need to see the movie.
If you need to sneak in.
Listen. If you need that, you could stick the IOU. Just stick it in the box and say, "Look."
They're like up to almost over 300 million now in box office sales. I'm pretty sure.
The first weekend, 300 million. First week, 300 million.
Yeah, and it was so long. And taking into consideration, it was also a long holiday weekend as well since we have President's Day. So, once again, just as a fan of, the Marvel Universe and just a fan of, good filmmaking and even a fan of Ryan Coogler because I love what he did with Creed. I love Fruitvale Station. For those of you who haven't seen it, Fruitvale Station is about the Oscar Grant killing that happened a few years ago, and Creed is definitely about the continuation of the Rocky.
Which
story.
I'm a big fan of that Eye of the Tiger song. I'm gonna tell you a true story. I loved Eye of the Tiger so much, and I would put a quarter every time I went to the pizza place. I'd ask my dad for a quarter so I could play Eye of the Tiger because it was so anthemy. I'd be like, it would fire me up. I'm like, I'm gonna eat this pizza. So I love tigers so much. I got a tattoo of a tiger. And that brings it back to Creed because I love. Well, the thing that's interesting about Creed too is that these are very cinematic, but they are like what I would classify as a Hollywood movie, like Creed, like just in the way they went about it, not necessarily the script or whatnot. But
yeah, they didn't try too hard to live off the Rocky magic as opposed to just carving out their own side story and universe separate of the Rocky franchise, which was awesome. The only thing I'm disappointed about is that Ryan Coogler isn't going to do the second Creed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it was a scheduling conflict, but I'm pretty sure, the guy who takes up the mantle and directs this next film, which Ryan Coogler actually gave his blessing to. Apparently, they know each other.
Okay.
And
we're at least safe that way.
Yeah, we're safe that way. Of course, Michael B. Jordan's going to reprise his role as Adonis, so we're in good hands, everybody.
All right. Nice. Well, listen, I mean, we could keep going because I love talking about movies, and then we start talking about food, and then I'm getting hungry. So
the two go hand in hand.
They do, because when you watch shit, you gotta eat shit, and I think
that should be the tagline for the show.
Yeah.
Whenever we come up with a name.
What is it called? Got shit, eat shit. Watch shit.
If you watch shit, you gotta eat shit.
Watch. Oh, I never even thought about that double meaning.
Double entendre. Don't ask me
Yeah,
how.
I didn't really mean shit. I just meant eat some tasty morsels.
Pizza.
Eat some pizza while you party. Eat some. Drink some Mountain Dew while you movie. I don't know. We're gonna come up
figure
with
it out.
something
We're
else.
gonna figure it out. But yeah, guys. So this was our review on Black Panther. Stay tuned for many more to come.